My name is Asad Yaqub, and we are going to start with your IELTS speaking test. Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you interested in architecture?
Yes, I'm very interested in architecture, and in future I have planned to build my own building in very typical style, because I love such kind of buildings, and I also visited one or two in northern areas.
Do you live in an old building or a modern one?
No, we shifted in a modern house 4 or 5 years ago. We built it in a new kind. We have just like in a big cities, like we have like an apartment. We have 3 bedrooms in our house, a nice terrace and a garage. Like this.
What sort of building would your dream home be?
Well, my dream home is a beach villa. I really love to see the beach when I get up early and side the curtains and the beautiful sea, the nice of water and the mountains view. It really, you know.
If you were an architect, what sort of buildings would you design?
Well, if I get a chance to design a building, I would love to design a tree house. The tree house are very close to nature, and a person have time to spend our time within the nature diversity. So that kind of a house I would love.
Okay, we now move on to IELTS speaking part 2,
Okay.
and your topic is describe a building you have seen that impressed you. You have 1 minute to read the topic and write down some notes. Okay, you will now have to speak on this topic for 1 to 2 minutes.
Well, I visited many buildings since last few years, but here I would like to talk one of the most beautiful building in Islamabad. It's called Centaurus. Basically, it's a shopping mall and flats. I visited it last year when I go to visit Islamabad with my family. It's a very good building. The first 4 floors consist of the shopping mall, and the fourth floor is basically a food court. But after that, there are lots of flats, very beautiful flats, and I also spent one night stay at that hotel. It was very good for me, and it really inspires me. And I have intentions to buy a flat there. I also enjoy an infinity pool at the top of this building, which really which gives a very good review of the whole city. The when you are in a pool and seeing mountains at the top of that building, it really lower my stress.
All right, thank you very much. We now move on to IELTS speaking part 3. Do many people in your country visit historic buildings?
No, some old peoples do like to visit old buildings, but the young generation like to spend more time in exploring new kind of building like skyscrapers and
What
like this.
types of historic buildings are most popular to visit?
Sorry, repeat, please.
What type of historic buildings are most popular to visit?
Well, as far as I concern, I like to visit the buildings of almost 100 years ago. That was old buildings, but in my country, people likes to visit. People don't like to visit old countries. Oh, sorry, old buildings.
All right, why do people visit these historic buildings?
People visit to these historic buildings to see how the old civilization live, and how was the lifestyle of old civilizations. And moreover, people also like to know about history, and that's why people go there.
All right, thank you very much. That's the end of your IELTS speaking test. Okay, well, overall, it was good. I mean, the way you started, that was
Okay.
fine. But then as you moved on to part two, like in part one, the topic and the questions were somewhat different
Okay.
and unusual, but you handled them very well. As we moved on to part two, then you started making more and more mistakes. Some of these mistakes were related to tenses. Now, the
Tenses.
topic was describe a building you have seen that impressed you, past tense. And as you were describing the building and you were talking about your experience, even you used present tense. For example, I go to visit, it should have been I went to
I went
visit.
to visit.
Then you had some pronunciation mistakes. Instead of saying the word hotel, you said hotel. Hotel is wrong. And then you said it inspires me. It should have been it inspired me,
Inspired me.
or this building inspired me. And then frequently you use the word people's. Actually, it is people, right? And then you said the review of the city. I mean, from the building, you don't have the review of the city, you have the view of
View
the
of the
city.
city.
Like there was a spectacular view of the city from the building. So these type of mistakes were there. Anyways, coming back to overall band score and the way you performed in overall test, I would give you 6 band. Right?